Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of the DIY Dollar Tree lemon tree. This video was inspired by Crafty Girl Marie at Crafty Girl Vlogs. She was looking for a lemon tree and I went ahead and found a couple to try to make with all Dollar Tree products. These gifted lemons were from one of the subscribers, and you're going to need some craft paper and some Spanish moss, or I ended up using some green raffia that was gifted to me. And you're going to need some white glue. The white glue from the Dollar Tree, get 3 for $1. You're going to need your glue gun as well as glue sticks, and you're going to need your scissor and an X-Acto knife or a craft knife or a craft blade, any one of those things. And you're going to need to watch part 1 and how to make the tree part. So now we're going to add the lemons, and for those of you who've been around for a while, know the turmoil of me trying to find the lemons at the Dollar Tree. So they were gifted to me by one of my subscribers. Thank you so much. And like the ones from the Dollar Tree, these are foam inside. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut them in half. Now, I'm going to cut 2 of them directly in half, and one of them I'm going to cut a little off center of half. And if you watched part 1, you saw that my inspiration trees were, one was a tree and the other one was like a topiary tree. And I'm going to combine the looks. So, sorry about that. So what I've done is I've, to spread out the amount of lemons, you know, to get more bang for your buck, I guess, we're going to cut some of the lemons in half, 3 of the lemons in half, and then we're going to hang 3 of them whole. And this will give the illusion of having more lemons. So what I've done is I've cut 2 in half, and I just put the stem on 1/2. And since it's laying flat on its cut edge out of the tree there, you can't really tell where the stem is, so that's okay. And like I said, I cut the one of them in half, a little off center, so it would basically be more of a lemon sticking out and a little half of lemon sticking out. And then I repeated with the third one, and I made sure I put 3 on each side. Like I'm going to mention in the end, if you want to know that you're going to make this tree to go up against a wall, you only have to decorate one side of it if you want to. I wanted to spread the tree, the lemons around, because I don't know where I'm going to place it when I finally figure out where I'm going to place it. I might put it in front of a window, so I'll want it to be lemons on both sides. So now what I'm doing is I'm just taking a disposable plastic container. These are the kind that come with cold cuts. And I've added some water and some white glue. This white glue is actually from Staples, and it's washable, but you can use washable glue as well. You just want to water it down, and we're just going to basically do paper mache. What I'm doing here now is I've taken some of the craft paper. What I did was I rolled the cover back to expose just the end, and then I ripped off a big section of the end around like that. And the reason I did that is because I want long strips, and you know, when you put your hand there, you can get long strips. And then I want to do is I'm going to twist these 2. So basically what I'm making here is what I can only refer to as paper caterpillars. And the reason we're putting paper caterpillars on the tree is to make it look less like a broomstick. So what I've done is I basically put what would be essentially knots. I've put one on the right, a little above, one on the left, a little below. But you can do wherever you want. The example tree is actually one of the samples that I looked at online. Actually had the tree was like bent. You know, it was a really, really wild looking branch. So we're going to repeat ripping paper off by pulling the plastic wrapper back a little bit more. And we're going to take about 2 to 3 inch wide strips. And what I'm doing is I'm taking one, I guess it's probably 3 feet long, and I'm crinkling it up, and then I'm letting it soak in the glue mixture. And what you're going to do is you're going to slowly pull it out and, you know, run it through your fingers. If you've ever done paper mache before, you know what I'm talking about. And then we're just going to haphazardly wrap it around this branch. The reason we're just doing it haphazardly is because we want to give it texture. If we were to just go ahead and lay it on nicey like we were actually doing paper mache, it would still look like a broom handle. It would still look straight, perfectly straight with no texture, and that wouldn't be fun or tree-like. So I'm doing is I'm starting just to wrap it like I'm going to wrap it nicely. And there, I'm showing you how I'm dipping it. And now you're just going to run it through your fingers. There you go. Hey, now you can see it better. You're just going to squeeze off all the extra glue. And then try not to touch your camera. And now I'm starting here, and I'm starting right above on where the tape is. And I'm just wrapping it around. And again, I'm not being neat with it by any stretch of the imagination, because you want to add texture. And that's what this technique will do. And whoops. So, sorry about that. So the camera spin around. Jim came to help me fix it, and he accidentally turned it off. So here's what I just did. I took tissue paper. This tissue paper came from Louisa. They do sell different tissue paper at the Dollar Tree. You can actually do this with white tissue paper and then paint it, or thin tissue paper, like some of the thin tissue paper from the Dollar Tree will probably bring give it like a birch look when it has the craft paper come through it. Okay, but I just happen to have this, and you know I like to recycle stuff. So here's all I did was I put some in there and I wrung it out very quickly. However, then my camera blew around and I needed Jim to come help me. So it soaked way too long before I was able to separate it. Once I got parts of it separated, I threw it on there. Then you want to take dry tissue paper in strips, and you go over everything with dry tissue paper. There's enough glue in what's left over of the dry tissue, for the dry tissue paper to cling on. Then you will get like areas that look like they're not attached, because bark tends to pull away from the trunk. So that just gives it a more realistic look. Now that it's all finished, I can tell you a little bit better. So I put this bend in here. And this bend in here, that's where we stuck all of that big wad of craft paper under there. And I went all the way up to the top where I covered the tape, and down to the bottom. I didn't really care so much about this because I'm actually going to put filler in here still. Originally, I told you guys if you can't find the dirt, then cat litter will work. I was going to put Spanish moss on top of it, because when you get an artificial tree, a lot more times than not, there is Spanish moss sitting on the top of this. So that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to add some of this ivy. But I wanted to tell you that one of my inspiration items actually had ivy leaves in the bottom, like this. They had leaves in the bottom, not moss. But I think I'm going to go ahead and put moss down there to cover that. But I'm going to wait till it dries, and then we'll come back and finish it up. Sorry about that. Yeah, once again, I'm sorry about that. So this is later that night. This project is over the course of a week. It didn't take me a week, but I had to work on it. You have to let stuff dry, work on it, let stuff dry, make mistakes, fix it, let stuff dry, like that. So this is just later the same night. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting off pieces of the ivy. And I've decided to, the way this particular vine is that there are some leaves. They're like a set of 2 leaves, and then a set of the vine, and then another set of 1 leaf, and then some vine. So I've just decided to make a bunch of different ones that can hang off, because if you saw the inspiration tree in the first video, it did have, one of the trees had a lot of like really leafy, branchy type of leaves. And then one of them was like more of a topiary, so I told you I'd like to combine them. So I'm cutting the leaf, cutting right above the leaves and leaving a little bit of vine on some of them. And this one I'm gluing the lemon directly to the vine, right where the little nub is. I just glued it right to the stem of the leaf, so it looked like it was just growing out of this tree. Now, to attach this, I've taken and stuck the glued end. I glued the end and I stuck it into where there was moss. And then I took some additional moss and I placed it over it so I could hold it down without burning myself. And you really want to hold down the way the lemons, when you hang the lemons, a little longer than when you hold down, which is the leaves. The leaves you could just stick in there for like, you wait like 10 seconds and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. But where the lemons were hanging, we're just, you want to hold them a little bit longer because there is a tiny bit of weight to that. All right, and you just want to make sure that it cools off before you move on. And now I'm just designing, 2 leaves here, 3 leaves there, 1 leaf there, like whatever looks good to you. Fill in your holes, fill in your hollow to get the aesthetic you're looking for. The one that looked like a topiary more type of lemon tree just had, like, if you would have just glued the leaves directly to where the moss was, without any branches. And then the other one had all branches. So that's why I said I wanted to go ahead and blend the 2 styles. And the way I am doing this is just I'm going to do one side and then the other. But if you feel obliged to go ahead and decorate all 360 degrees at a time, obviously go right ahead. What's great about this is I've left some hanging branches where if I do find more lemons, and I kind of was thinking like the Dollar Tree lemons are a little bit bigger than these ones, and I think that would be nice to have lemons of different sizes on here. I might go pick up a couple if I ever find them and add a couple of additional lemons to this tree. So you can see here, I'm just making it look like, there you go. You're a little close to the camera, Jerry. Okay. So I'm just showing you how I'm gluing it directly to the stem of the lemon. And then I'm just holding it, la la la, singing to myself. And just want to make sure until it's cooled off. Okay? And it's nice and stuck there. And then I'm just going to continue. I ended up using 1 vine per side to... Basically, again, you want to have more or less vines. You can add additional greenery. You can add additional lemons. It is really up to you guys. Just like all of our DIYs, I love to just be able to teach you techniques and ideas and inspire you to go ahead and make your own and do the one the way you like it. Okay? And of course, being able to do this on a budget is really what makes it special. Being able to do it on a budget, but also being able to do it when you have no craft store by you also is very helpful. Okay. So after a while, I was just making a few with 2 leaves but no vine. And then at one point I just took and cut a stem completely off and just glued the leaf right to the topiary. So I just did a variety of which I did want the lemons. Most of the lemons that are hanging on the vines are all hanging below, excuse me. I didn't really have any hanging above, but you could. And if I get additional lemons, I might, because I do have some branches hanging up there. I kind of consider this the front. I think this is the best part of the branch and the tree. But you choose when you make yours. Now, if you plan on making this for your house and keeping it against a wall, you really only have to decorate one side with lemons. We could have done all the lemons on one side, but I wanted to show you the option. I think you guys can envision. I think most of you have the creativity enough to envision what it would look like. If it was all the lemons on one side, or more lemons, or more leaves. See, this is what I was looking for. This is what I was going for, I should say. But I don't want to say you do you, but if you feel like you want it to look more leafy, more lemony, that's what's so great about our crafts. We always make them so that they can personalize and customize them. And you see that the knobs that we put on the tree make it look less like a broomstick. We gave it a little bit of an angle, and The dirt is keeping it in, plus the glue. And if you haven't seen me do this yet, I will show you. I'm not saying you should do this to yours, but you could test it. But mine, I can pick it up. I can pick the whole thing up by that glue, that glued piece of green foam that we stuck down in there. Okay. So it turns out I don't have any Spanish moss, but I was gifted all of this green raffia. So why not? Green raffia it is. So green raffia it is, but you guys can get Spanish moss. If you do have lots of raffia left over, you can shove it down in there, and I'm just going to trim it up and cut it up so it lays a little flatter. And but like I showed you, there's green leaves in the example. There is the reindeer moss, the floral moss, the Spanish moss. Any of those would look nice. And also, as I mentioned before, if you put newspaper under the dirt, you could just have the dirt be elevated, and that could be your base. And that is it. I'm going to say that's so easy. It was easy. It just took a long time for everything to dry, but that's it. I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. I'd love to hear you guys' feedback. I really would. You tell me what you like and don't like about it. And if you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments down below. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Share with friends and family. Anybody you know might be interested in making a tree, a topiary, a lemon tree, any of those things. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe. And when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever we upload a new video. And as always, you take care. God bless. We'll see you next time. Bye. Keep crafting.